Let's go!
Sorry.
Let's go! That was a secret.
Oh,
Get him.
dude. Come on.
We might have to stay on the podcast, yo, if this is good luck. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Hook One Pod. Hey, we're here at Hook One Bait and Tackle in the studio. As always, I'm Pete. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, we're missing Louie. He had some obligations he had to take care of today, some jigs and stuff that he had to take care of. But we've got a great guest with us. He is on the ice. Tyler, we've got our friend Tyler with us. We've been trying to set this podcast up for a minute now.
For a very time. I'm
Tyler, what's going on, brother?
How's it going?
Going, dude. You know, we even almost got sabotaged today. I hopped on the call. We're supposed to be doing our call at 9 a.m., and I hop on the call, and Tyler's like, all right, I'm going to be setting up for ice fishing. I'll be there at 9 o'clock. So I'm sitting on the call. It's 9 a.m. I'm like, where's Tyler? He must be in a school of fish or whatever. 9:15. I'm like, where's Tyler? Finally, dude, you texted me back. You're like, what about the time change? So why don't you tell people where you're at and tell them a little bit about yourself. What are you doing right now?
So we're on Upper Red Lake, the famous. My cousin's running after a flag right now. Very very popular fishery. We're in about 13 feet of water, and we're filling the freezer today. We're gonna try to see if we can catch our 4 walleyes. It was about. I live up in Bemidji, Minnesota. It was probably an hour drive, but yeah, we're out here we're fishing.
So what? Tell people a little bit about the limits over there on Upper Red Lake, because I don't think our viewers here. We get 6 fish a person, 15 inches or bigger, no slot limit. So we're pretty spoiled over here. Up in Saginaw,
yeah,
dude, up in Saginaw Bay, they get 8 fish a person, 13 inches or bigger, no slot.
That's insane. Yeah, I mean, Minnesota, you get 6, 1 over 20 is the state limit. But here, it kind of depends on, because we're only able to fish on just the northern, basically tip of Red Lake. Then Lower Red is all Indian reservation. We can't touch any of that. So it kind of just depends on like netting and like the harvest up here. But right now the limit is 4 with 1 over 17, which which is good. They're all super healthy, thick fish, but it's kind of tough to catch them under that 17 mark this year. A lot of them are like 17 and a half. Quarter. But yeah.
Dude. Yeah, so our DNR just moved ours to 15 inches, not this year, but last year. And it was like, damn, the DNR knew what they were doing, because I can't tell you how many 14 and a half inch fish that I've had to let go that last year we would have been keeping live wells full of.
Oh, for sure.
Pretty crazy what those size restrictions will do and how they can really help a fishery out.
Yes, absolutely.
You got one in the shack, don't you?
Yeah, I got a 15. I caught home, but that'll taste good in a pan a little later. Flay it up, cook it up with some shore lunch probably. Yeah,
dude, that shore lunch is good.
Oh yes.
The eats that you get from walleye are unbelievable. That's what all my clients say when we come back in from a trip and I hand them a gallon freezer bag full of meat. They're like, "Oh my god, this costs $16 a pound at the store," and I'm like, "Yeah, and the stuff at the store would never even compare to the quality that you're catching when you're getting, especially this time of year. Like for us, we don't have the ice, but cold water walleyes, you're getting them on the ice, dude. You cannot beat a cold water walleye.
Cold water, any fish, like even crappies, it's not that mushy late summer
pike,
like that crispy brown. Oh, so good. Oh, makes me hungry already. But yeah,
I know
that cold water.
You probably hear the pan popping.
Yes, because we're out of JR's corner access, which is hold on, I got one coming in, which is on Upper Red, and if you can bring your fish in, clean them, and they'll cook them for you. So we might do that,
dude.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it. There's a place on the Detroit River, Sinbad's, that does that you can go out, catch your fish, come back in. And they'll cook them for you. And we actually just got a place in Marine City. So when I was in the restaurant, we used to do it at our restaurant, because it was like, that's the way to do it. You take them out fishing, then you take them to get fed.
Yeah.
When we sold our restaurant, we started working with a different restaurant in Marine City with the fish company here, and they do it the same way. So they'll blacken they'll blacken it, pan fry it, or deep fry it,
Yep.
or broil it, I guess. So you can do it 4 different ways: coleslaw, fries, like the whole works. That's the way to do it, dude. Like the experience, the whole experience. That's what it's about.
Yeah, and that's the best tasting fish, that fresh. Like,
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Oh,
So we've been wanting to talk about this podcast. We've got a lot to talk about. I met you over in Minnesota when we were over there for Frank's wedding. That's where I met. If you guys have seen the episode before with Benny, it was the same place that I met Benny. Dude, years later, and I still can't thank you guys enough for the hospitality that you showed me and my wife when we came over there. You took us in like one of our own, because I was like, we're not going to know anybody over here. And Frank's like, you got to talk to these guys. And really, it was you, Benny, and Andrew that we really hung out a lot with. And you and Benny are a little bit, how old are you? You're a little bit younger than me.
24.
24, and I'm 27. So you're a little bit younger than me, and it was really cool to see, because I was young at the time, and like you and Benny were grinding, man. And you guys were like 2 of the first people I met that actually went ahead and did like the influencer thing. So that's kind of what we want to talk to you about today, is where it started, where it kind of led you, because you ended up joining those, the Bass Bus that we talked about. So those crazy adventures there, the Bassmobile. And now you're doing something really cool with a company called Boatsetter that I can't wait to dive into. But why don't you give people a little bit about your background? Like, what kind of got you into fishing, and what made you want to do the influencer thing? Because you did it before it was a thing.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, I started when I was crazy young. I think I was 3 years old when I caught my first fish. We made trips to Canada every year since I was 8 years old, and just really fell in love with the sport of fishing. And I played sports all the way through, like, elementary school, middle school, and then when I got to high school, I was like, I kind of just want to quit sports and just fish more. Like, I want to get better. I want to just kind of do something different. And that's exactly what I did. My goal originally, when I was 13, 14 years old, I was like, I want to get paid to fish. And that opens up every single kind of opportunity, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just wanted to get paid to fish. And that's kind of when social media started getting a little bit more traction. Like Instagram, you had 400 followers. Like, oh my God, like you have, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And I kind of just wanted, when I first downloaded social media, I didn't really know what to post. No one really knew how to even work it. So I was like, well, I'll create an extra account, and I'll just start posting fishing pictures. Well, then,
can I pause you there for a second?
Yeah, for sure.
I think what you said right there is really interesting, because that was the same thing for me. Like when I got Facebook was kind of one thing, but like when I got an Instagram and when I got a TikTok or like Twitter and stuff, it was like, what do I post? Like, do you really show? Cause like I got a hard time with social media because it like gives people access into your life. And there's some things I don't want in my life. Like I don't need you knowing where I'm going on random Saturdays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the what to post thing was really interesting, and that's what led me down my path, was what to post. Well, I'm going to post fishing stuff. Well, that's all I ended up posting.
Yeah.
So, sorry, keep going. I that's a really cool point you brought up that I don't think anybody's really brought that up, is like, hey, I just got a social media. Where do what's my first post going to be, and where's this kind of going to go?
Well, it's like, what do I like? What do I share? That's exactly how it kind of started. And once I started a fishing account, it was called Nothing But Fishing Pictures. I literally just posted just random stuff, like caught a 4-inch bluegill post, just like random whatever I was up.
That's cool as hell.
And I would always go to the St. Paul Ice Show, and you'd go see all the new products, and because it used to be a huge deal back then, because people weren't marketing on social media, and that's kind of where you learned all that stuff. Well, then I met someone. I met a buddy who, I'm not going to say his name, but I met a buddy who was in a school near me, and I met him at an ice show. And he and his dad, he was I think 4 or 5 years older than me, and him and his dad worked with clam. And I didn't really think a whole lot of it. I just became friends with him, and we started hanging out. And I saw that, like, his dad was on TV and going on all these trips, and I was like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
How do I do that? Because he was going like traveling everywhere fishing. That's what I wanted to do. So I became good friends with him, and they introduced me originally to Northland, and I started with Northland, and I was with them for just. I still feel bad to this day. I hopped on with them and just again posting a couple pictures, and they introduced me to clam, and what I was 14 years old, and they're like, hey, we are doing a charity event with the boys and girls.
Wow, you were 14, bro, when this stuff was going on?
I was 14 years old, and I had no direction, or like I was just kind of doing stuff, like just doing shit with.
Yeah.
And there was an event with the Boys and Girls Club. They're like, can you come help out? I'm like, yeah, for sure. And I got to go. I fished with Kleinsasser from the Vikings, and just I believe Mitchell was there, and just a bunch of people, and I shook hands and helped kids learn how to fish. And that was the coolest part, was teaching less fortunate kids, just giving them the opportunity to fish and be outside, do all that. And then I just kind of fell in love with like working with a company, because having that opportunity, and that's the biggest thing. That was so cool.
It gave you an opportunity to do things that you didn't really think were going to be an option. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's when I worked my first fishing show in Novi with offshore tackle. It was the same thing. I was like, oh my God, like this is really cool. And then, you know, I started my charter thing, and I could offer giveaways or like stuff, especially when I first started out and I didn't have as many trips. You could offer giveaways to these charities or causes, and then you get to take these people out, and you're like, damn, this is really making a big difference on them. And I mean, now we're fortunate enough. We work with charities, obviously, like Frank's, doing that, and we work with companies like Reunite the Fight. There's a big flag back there, but and that one works on getting veterans out. But like for me, that was the most fulfilling. Would you agree that like some of the coolest people that you've met in your life? I mean, you're kind of in the industry now, so kind of everybody in your life comes from here, but like really some of the most genuine people I've ever met have come from this industry.
Oh, 100%. That's how I fell in love with trying to be paid to fish, or just like career in the industry was like, it's way more than fishing. It's literally like the whole industry is all networking and opportunity, and meeting those people, like you just said. It's like, that's what makes it so freaking cool.
100 networking is the big thing too. And I think like, that's always interesting to realize, is because a lot of guys will get into this business and they go just kind of like gung-ho, like, I'm going to do this. This is going to be for me type deal. And it's like that's not going to work out and get you where you need to be in the long run. You know what I mean? It's a very much so like a village, working together, doing it together type of thing.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. Like after.
Oh, hang on. Good. Catch a fish while I'm gone.
Pete, I wish you were here. I'm about to smack a walleye. And two of them. Missed it. My baby. Oh no, I'm not going. Turn me off. Shoot. Other rod, coming up to the other rod. Slam. Pete, I wish you were here. This is what we're after. Just me on the pod. But Pete's helping a customer right now, and I'm not sure if he's gonna put this in there, but a little crispy nugget later. But beautiful red lake walleye. Pete, come back. That was cool. Come on. You missed it. I had two come in, and I lost one at the hole and caught one, but I talked to the camera if you want it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah? Sweet. Take it. Yeah, I'll see it.
Gave the rundown on what I'm using. Yeah.
Did you really? Dude, that's hilarious. I literally might leave that whole thing in then. I literally might leave that like, shit, I'll be right back.
And then you're like,
That's
I was
hilarious.
literally like, Pete, come back.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, it really just takes a village to be successful because you can't do everything. You can't advertise to everybody. You can't you just can't touch all the bases together. So you've really got to work
Absolutely.
together.
And that's kind of when like social media started. Like when I got in, it was before the whole influencer thing. It was like it was pro staff at that time. Like out to companies.
Right.
I was literally sitting in class every day. I just reach out to every company that I thought was cool, I believed in. And I was like, hey, basically like sponsor me, because I didn't know. I was like, I have this fishing page. It's got like 1,000 followers now. I'm with Clam. Like, do you think we could work something out? And then like eventually you just kind of acquired them. But that's what's so crazy is that influencing wasn't a thing. So it was honestly like a hustle. It was fish every day, and that's when I was doing Instagram, as people call it. And it's like posting stories and just doing the whole thing, just trying to build almost like a personality or like a status to grow. And
you followed the people that were before us, as far as the Lindners, the Mitchells, like those guys that kind of set the. You're sitting there describing like what you caught.
Yeah.
I'll see it because when I was gone, you caught a fish. But it's like, that's kind of it. And that was, I don't want to be like that guy, but that was, like you said, it was before influencing was influencing. So like you were fishing and you were documenting it. Like the early stages of social media were truly the beautiful times of this industry, because it was the people that literally fished every single day were the ones that could create content, that would create content, and you were doing it for fun because that's what you wanted to do, but at the same time, hoping that it would benefit you. Now, it seems like a lot of guys go out there, dude, and they're just fishing or just snapping pics to see how many likes they're going to get or like what it's for, and it's very interesting. It's interesting. The industry is almost split. Like, this is what I do because I get paid, or I get paid because this is what I do.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. Yeah.
So it's like it's interesting to see that, but like when you were doing it, that was the purest intentions. Like now companies will just throw out the word pro staff and it's basically a 20% off sale.
Sales.
You know what I mean? Like, hey,
they do just to make more money.
Yeah. 100%. And it's like, that's why for us, like I don't like to, like when I was younger, that's what I was into. Like I grew up in that. You got a pro staff, you got a pro staff, you got a pro staff. Well, the more I got into it, dude, and the more I talked to these companies, I'm like, no, I don't want I don't want the deal, and I'm not going to be hashtagging you and tagging you and stuff like that, like for the deal. Like we got to kind of work together. You've done that really well. That's kind of we're going to continue to talk about it, but it's led you to get to where you've got to as a career. Like, hey, I'm going to help you, but I want you guys to help. Like as much as I help you, I want you to help me. Right? Like it's when we go to companies, whether it's AFTCO or say I'm walking into a boat dealer or we're going wherever to talk about whatever, it's never a pro staff thing. Like I want business relations. I want to work with you, but I want you to work with me. I don't want to be a nameless face.
I know exactly what you mean. Yes. And I
out of coffee. So where did that lead you? You're 14 years old. You're sitting in class. You're trying to work with these guys.
So
where does that go?
As I progressed through high school, I worked with a couple other companies. I was with Temple Fork for a little bit, Wiley X.
TFO's cool. Yeah. TFO's cool, man. I had a couple TFO rods that I've loved, and I talk about TFO. People are like, "Who the hell is Temple Fork?" And it's like, nah. But that's cool. So where else?
As I got older in high school and just kept doing my thing, junior year, I met Benny in class, and he's like, tell me about the whole like sponsor deal or like the fishing account or whatever. I'm like, at the time I was like, just create an account and just do your thing, like work hard, and that's I have what I have. And he's like, all right, well, I'm gonna create an Instagram account. And then from that moment on, it was like him and I just doing everything we can. Yeah, we were very competitive, but from that moment on, it was what can we do to get more followers? What can we do to work with more companies, create more relationships? And from there, he hopped on with Lucky Tackle Box, and then shortly after that, he hopped on with Mystery Tackle Box. And through him,
Okay.
we'd go out and we worked irrigation all day, and then from our irrigation job, we'd hit the water and we'd take pictures and whatever, and posting stories, and we became really close with the Mystery Tackle Box guys. And one specific person, his name's Eli, amazing dude. He came. We took him out to our private lake, and he came out and fished with us, and took him for a couple years. Didn't really know, I guess, what he did at MTV. Just he was our contact, and as we got through college, I was like a junior in college, and he texted us. He's like, "Hey, I got this really cool opportunity. Let's go fishing." Okay, whatever. We went fishing, and he's like, "So we're thinking about building a giant." He's like, "You know the Wienermobile?" And he's like, "We want to build something, but for fishing." And we're like, "Oh, cool." And he's like, "I'm thinking about having you guys run it." We're like, "What?" And he's like, I'll give you more details later." And then that was it. Like, that was it for them. And
okay, first off, shout out to Eli for saying, "Hey, I've got this really big idea. Let's go fishing." Like, I'm getting on the water, dude. That is awesome. And then he comes out and he's like, "Hey, I've got this great idea. I'll tell you more about it later in a few weeks."
We were just like,
but he went fishing.
He did go fishing.
He went fishing.
We did very well that day, and he's like, "This is fun, whatever, but I'll let you know more about it because it was just an idea then." Well, then Mystery Tackle Box and Catchville built this giant bassmobile, and Benny probably told you the exact same. But then he's like, "Here's the what am I trying to say?" He's like, "Here's the application. Fill it out and just." He's like, I want you to run it. And immediately, hold on. Ooh, got one.
Yeah! Let's go!
Oh, no, I lost the hole.
It's a keeper.
Don't get to see it.
What is it? What are you using? I know you already told my viewers.
I got a clam PT spoon, which is brand new this year. It's kind of like a little buckshot. Rattle back.
Okay.
I'm tail hooking a full minnow. It's very well alive because while I'm obviously doing this podcast, I'm not sitting there jigging, but the fish or the bait down there is very, very lively, and it's rattling the bait for me. So it kind of just doing my job while I'm being lazy.
Yeah, and you tail hook it, so as it swims, it's going to rattle that whole spoon. I like that. Those are tough, dude, because the hooks on them are small, so keeping them pinned
I try to tuck the hook as far back on the minnow as I can, so all of it's shell.
Yeah, that makes sense. So anyway, so you fill out. So he has you fill out this application, but I mean, like, dude, you guys are young, so you guys are about to take this. How big was it? 40 foot.
40-foot camper, and he's like, "You guys are basically going to be on the road for a year, and you're not coming home. You're just going to be on the road and traveling everywhere." And I think what we thought it was just like fishing the whole time. And I think that they were kind of worried that we also thought that and not had the business, or didn't think that it was actually going to be a job. So they told us no.
Right.
Like, they're like, we're not going to give you the job. So we didn't think that we were ever going to do it. After we submitted our application, we had one interview, and they basically just said no. He's like, I'm trying, or I tried, but like that's it. Like, well, damn, like that was super bummed. Still really didn't have any idea what we were going to get ourselves into, but just super bummed. And I remember Eli, he's like, "You want to go fishing again?" I'm like, "Yeah, we'll go fish." And caught a bunch of bass, and he actually caught his PB that day, which I still feel like helped immensely. Like that's what I feel like the breaking point was. But then we talked, and he's like, "What do you think that this job is going to be?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know." I was like, "Obviously it's going to be a job, and we'll fish and travel the country." And he started telling me about just like the business and like selling, and I just got super excited. Like, I think that I hit like a turning point from kid to wanting to be an adult, like right during, and I think that he saw that we were actually interested in being an employee and selling and like actually growing the sport of fishing. And then we got a call for another interview. Like, had a couple extra interviews, but we got the job, and we're like, all right, leave in 2 weeks. And luckily, we were young enough to where we didn't really have any response. It was in the middle of the summer, and we told our boss, we're like, hey, we got to quit our job, but you know that this has kind of been our dream our whole lives, was to get a job in the industry, and we're leaving in like 2 weeks. That's it. We quit our job.
Dude, it's the perfect example of like the perfect opportunities come at the most imperfect times. And it's like you have to take it. Like that's what me and Louis were talking about. Like, dude, Louis 21, and the Elite Series, the Elite Series Opens are coming to, or not the Elite Series, but the Bassmaster Opens are coming to Lake St. Clair. And I was like, dude, you got to fish. Like, you don't know when you're ever going to get to do this again. Like, how many opportunities have you had? You're only 24. How many opportunities have you had where you're like, you know, I'll do it when I have time? And now every year that goes by, it's like, I got less time.
With how fast the world moves now, if you get an opportunity and you don't take it, you won't get another opportunity. And that's what, like, we just took it.
Yep, that's how the fishing charter happened for me. And especially like the bait shop. Like, we just put over $200,000 basically into renovating a restaurant and turning it into a sports bar, doing all this stuff, like a business that they've had for 70 years. And like, we do that. And then, you know, we're in the middle of this renovation, and the people that had the building that I'm sitting in right now were like, hey, do you want to buy this? And it's like, I mean, how do you say no? Like, the opportunity was there. And then it's like, well, what do I got to do to pay the mortgage? So I got to sell my house. I got to put a bait shop in the basement because the charters, or put a bait shop downstairs because the charter business isn't going to pay for it, stuff like that. But it's like, it just perfectly echoes, you know, we've got this job, we've got our pages are growing. This is what we're doing, but that's what you guys worked for. Like, you earned it.
14 years old, I wanted a job in the fishing industry. Never had an expectation.
And dude, what was that bus like? What was it like driving around the country, 21, 22 years old?
It was one of a kind, truly. Like,
but it was.
Go ahead.
Before you get into it, I will say, like, it was work. Like, I followed along because it was right after I met you guys that all this kind of happened. And I was following along, like, very closely online. I was following both of your accounts, both of Benny's accounts, plus the Mystery Tackle Box account. And like, dude, it was very professional. You guys were going to schools. You guys were going to fairs. The bus looked absolutely stunning. All the product that was out there. Like, people say all the time, oh, you know, it must be nice to fish for a living, or it must be nice to be in the bait shop for a living. Like, explain the work. Explain the work that goes into fishing for a living.
No living, and even like guides. Like, you know very well.
Dude. And I'm not even going to, I work my ass off, and I'm not even going to take credit for, you know, guides out there that are on the lake and on the river. And that's like, I have the bait shop, right? Like, I have something else to do. That's what they do for a living. That's unbelievably hard work.
Well, that was the thing. It was like, we showed up in Chicago. They kind of gave us a rundown. 2 days we had training, and then boom, on the road. And it wasn't just like fishing all the time. We had all the product that you saw outside of the camper. We had to organize it and have it inside the camper, and we had to live there, and we had to have all of our fishing stuff and all of our like personal belongings to live on the road for.
And you had to, like, Benny's a great guy. You're a great guy. Like, it worked, but you got to live with somebody every single day and deal with that mess. So it's like, it can get a little like crazy. Like, it does sound like a lot of fun. It probably was a lot of fun, but it's like, it's not all fun.
No, I'd say like out of 7 days out of the week, we probably fished on average a half to 1.5 days, and the rest of that from 6 a.m. to honestly like 10 p.m. It's work. It's organizing. It's setting up at shows, taking down, talking to people. Like you said, schools, going and teaching 1,000 how to cast a fishing rod. Like, it was just, there's no job description that will ever match that, and there's no way I could also ever describe what we did, because it was different every single day, everywhere.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. That's like what one thing when we started the bait shop, like I explained to Louis, is I don't care if it's a bait shop. This place is never going to stink. This place is never going to have dirty floors. We're never going to have like, we are a professional establishment. And it's really weird when people think about like the fishing industry or the hunting industry. Like you think about fishing and you think of like the grumpy old man that doesn't tell you any of his secrets. And you think about hunting and you might think about the dude in all camo, but like, it's a very professional industry. Like when it comes to fishing, and I'm talking to my clients about the new clam spoon, there is legitimate science and engineering that goes into designing that spoon, how it falls, how it reacts, how it hooks fish, where the hooks go, the size of the hook. Like there's so much that goes into it. Like, why would you blow the chance not being professional or not being up to industry standard, I guess? And I think that's what sets a lot of guys apart. Like, dude, there's a lot of guys that you probably know that can catch a ton of fish that can't deal with people or can't deal with financials or ordering. Like, they would never do well in certain other aspects, even though they can catch fish.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
Anyone can truly catch a fish, but like you said, with like being organized and all that, it takes a village in yourself to do it.
Yes. Yeah, especially the organization. Like I learned that the hard way, and we've taken kindly to it now, and we've got this whole back room organized and shelves everywhere. But organization is key because especially like in this business, if I've got anything sitting in the back, like that's just money. That's my dollar bills sitting there, and I need that on the floor. This is what I'm really excited to talk about. We're gonna just dive right into it, dude, and that is currently what you're doing with your with the company Boatsetter, and everything like that. I'm gonna let you explain it, unless there's a fish that's about to bite your spoon.
On the screen right now. Give me 1 second.
Take your time. I'm gonna explain it a little bit.
That's sick. Come on. It's a nice walleye. Sorry to cut you off.
Come on. No, dude.
That'll fry. That'll fry.
Yeah. Yes, dude.
On the PT spoon and that new clam bait.
To all of our viewers and listeners, while he's unhooking this thing, when I texted him yesterday and I was like, we got together at the beginning of the week and we're like, listen, I don't care what happens. Set a day. We're doing this podcast. I mean, this thing's like at least a month in the making. I've had customers come in while this thing is going on. But Tyler, you were like, dude, is it cool? Like if I'm ice fishing, or do you want me to like set my stuff down so we can be a little more, look at that thing.
Why?
That's a perfect eater. And so he's like, is it cool if I'm ice fishing? And I was like, dude, please. Like, this is 100% what I wanted the podcast to be. I was like, please let me call you while you're in your shanty. And if you can like hook up while I'm there, that'd be sick. So he's hooked up to fish while I'm not on the screen, which you've already seen. He's hooked up and lost one, and now we've landed one. Fishing must be pretty good, bro. Your cousin's out there running laps, chasing tip-ups.
When you were gone, I was like, hey, you cold? Like, I could set it up for you can come in here. But, yeah, he's outside just hole hopping, grinding. But
that's awesome. Well, dude, let's finish up. Let's touch on Boatsetter, and then I'm going to get you back to doing the important stuff there, enjoying some family time.
So, Boatsetter,
So what is I'm sorry, go ahead. What is Boatsetter, and how would you explain it to probably 90% of my viewers and listeners that have never heard of it?
Simple terms, Boatsetter is basically like Airbnb for boats. You have a house, you want to rent it out, you throw it on Airbnb. If you have a boat or if you're a guide, you can list it on our website. We have insurance policies that'll cover rentals through Geico and Boat US. And yeah, list your boat, and if you're a renter, you can literally book a boat all 50 states, some other country. It's a super, super, super cool platform.
It is really cool. When we talked a little bit about it, because you reached out to me last year and you're like, hey, let's go. Dude, that was a secret.
Come on.
Come on. We might have to stay on the podcast, if this is good luck.
Dude, that one's a better one. Yeah.
That's a fatty.
That's the limit right there. That's it. Yeah,
is that going to be a keeper?
It's probably 18.
That's Oh, wait. I thought you were allowed to go over 17. Oh, one
Sorry to
over.
interrupt you one more time.
Don't ever apologize for catching fish. Dude. This might be the most. Sorry to all my other guests, but this might be the most engaging one. It sucks too because I know we have listeners that sometimes can't watch it on YouTube, so they're probably listening on like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or something, and they're probably like,
Yeah.
"What's going on?
Yeah.
Why is he yelling?" Tyler's just raking
That's
in
three
the
on.
keepers. Dude, 3 on camera. Usually you pull the camera out and it's bad luck, dude. You put the GoPro up and all the fish stop
I know that way
biting.
too well, actually.
Well, yeah, in your line of business and what you've been doing. But yeah, you approached me with Boatsetter and you were like, "Hey, check this thing out." And I looked at the first time I looked over it, I was like, "This isn't for me. Like, this is only to rent boats if you just want to put your boat up." And you're like, "No. Look a little bit closer." And so, like, in the descriptions, you can actually see if it's a guided trip, if it's not a guided trip. Some boats are just boat rides. Some boats are fishing. Some boats you rent the boat straight up. And it's a lot bigger down south right now, it seems like. And I could be wrong, but I think that's your job is to bring it up here. We're super stoked about it. Like, and if you guys are curious, all it is an app. Just head over to the App Store, whether you're on Google Play or Apple, and download Boatsetter and mess around with it a little bit because people like us that freeze our ass off in the winter. A lot of people are snowbirds. So like when you go down to Florida, you can find a boat to rent for the day, for a couple days, for the week, whatever it might be. What got you interested in that?
We actually, I met my two bosses. I met them on the road at the Bassmaster Classic when we were with the Bassmobile, and they approached Benny and I, and super nice people, and I met them, and then we just kind of stayed in contact. And when I quit the Bassmobile, I took a couple months and just was trying to find a job, and I interviewed a couple places around Bemidji, and I was actually going to take a job, and Luke, who is one of my coworkers, he's like, "Hey, I have this super cool opportunity. We're looking to expand in the Midwest. Are you interested?" And I was like, "I'm about to sign papers today." I was in the parking lot to literally sign expedited a little bit, and and interview process went through and got the job, and I get to Boatsetter is just the coolest thing because it's non-exclusive to the whole industry. It's a completely unique and new thing. It's honestly changing the whole, like, to be able to just rent a boat wherever you are, or
multi-industry.
Like, I've been in the fishing industry for a while, and to be able to hop into the boating industry and learn all that stuff over again and new things, new ways, that's what intrigued me. It's so cool. And then
right here in the boating industry, buddy.
Yeah. And
you don't you're in the fishing industry, and like we have fishing boats and we have that kind of stuff, and then like that when I got into like captaining and delivering boats and driving boats and stuff like that, I was like, holy shit, these guys have so much money.
Well, and just like the fact to be able to like tell someone like, "Hey, if you buy a boat, this will also help with your payments." Like, if you want to rent your boat out, like that's another way to pay for your boat. Just that is just, it's so cool. Yeah, it's my cousin.
Is that your cousin? Get him in here. We got to get a tip-up report.
How's it going out there? Yo, how's it going, guys?
Yo.
Doing good.
What's up, man? How are you?
A little windy. How are you guys doing?
It's nice to meet you, brother. Hey, we need a tip-up
fish
report.
On, running up there, fish got off by the time I tried to set the hook. So,
So
long run for nothing.
It's all right. He's at
Yeah,
Tyler's had a few pop off in here too. It happens.
Are those 3 under?
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, that's funny, dude. That is so funny. So Tyler, where do you see Boatsetter going from here, man? Because like I think getting into the Midwest, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, coming up here is genius. Where do you see it going, dude? Where do you want to take this?
Like, it's such an untapped industry. The room for, I see Boatsetter. Let me redo this answer. Like,
No, you're good, dude.
Well,
It's a
and then
tough
I saw
question.
it on my screen, and I just got to stop looking at it. Honestly, there's no telling kind of where Boatsetter is going to go or where it's going to be. There's so many untapped markets and so many different opportunities that I got one again.
Let's go! Circle the wagons.
Honestly, just talking
Come
about
on.
Boatsetter brings you fish. Trav, you need one?
Cheers to that.
Yeah. I just got an under. Okay. Sorry.
Please don't apologize. Just keep doing what you're doing.
All right, back.
That's
Yeah,
awesome,
I'm glad
dude.
that this whole thing's working out. It keeps interrupting our chat, but
Yeah, well, I got customers walking in. You got fish biting. We got stuff going on. The
Yes.
podcast
Oh,
needs to get done.
it's gonna get probably taking a little longer than we thought, but just ask the question again.
We got an hour. I think we still got about 10, 15 minutes to go.
Yeah.
So I guess like it's interesting because it's so, like you said, it's so multi-industry, and I think that's what's important, and I think that's what like I want our at least viewers and listeners to know, because the whole reason you guys come on here is to talk about what you guys do. And it's just so interesting to be able to rent a boat for pleasure, or rent a boat to go for a boat ride, or rent a boat to go fishing with said captain. I think having an app like Boatsetter, like you said, to be the Airbnb for watercraft rentals. I'm super stoked. We're on there. Hook One Charters is on there. We're super excited to be a part of it. I think what Boatsetter is doing, and I don't know if that's you or someone else on the social media side, but they're doing a really good job staying interactive. So like, I'm looking forward to 2024, dude. I think it's going to be a good year, and hopefully we get some more guys on the St. Clair system, maybe get a couple Detroit River guys, like just kind of help it grow a little bit. I think it would help you,
For
and
sure.
also like it's going to help us.
It's another platform. It's a great platform to, like, for guides like you. That's probably our biggest opportunity for growth, because we're already the leader for boat rentals in our market, but the opportunity for guides and growing like charters, I feel like 2024, like you said, got a good feeling it's going to be a really good year, and that's kind of just my is building that out, because there's a lot of guides, a lot of charters, and like you said, like, you can take a lot of trips and you guys make a lot of money, and with the amount of people that come looking for boat rentals, we're definitely trying to give you that exact same business with guys.
Well, right, and you guys are seeing it. Like, you guys are seeing the data and the metrics, like who's coming in, who's looking for boats, blah, blah, blah. That's literally your job to kind of target those people. But it is, dude, it's getting bigger, and like the Great Lakes is getting bigger, and the Midwest is getting bigger. Like, it's, as far as God's country goes, like, this is God's country. You've been fortunate enough to travel a lot of places with the industry and the bus. I've been lucky to go a lot of places. There's not a lot of places like the Midwest, in the sense, like, it's kind of like a hidden honey hole, you know, like we talked before the podcast. Michigan is number one in boats per capita. Like, there's more boats per person in Michigan than anywhere else in the country. Minnesota's got more inland lakes than anywhere in the country. Well, guess what? Those inland lakes have cottages. Those cottages have Airbnbs. Those guys that are doing Airbnbs need something to do, right? Like, it's
and so many,
it's the natural
so many people
flow
that go stay at those Airbnbs are asking for boats.
Yeah. Yes, 100%.
And with us, or vice versa, they're like, do you know of any place to stay? It's like, I have an Airbnb. Perfect. It's just creating those opportunities is what's so cool. And like you said, Midwest and Michigan, with the amount of boats, obviously Florida and Texas and those states are primarily like our biggest ones, but it's because 12 months to
absolutely
hop in a boat. But then up here, it's so untapped, and there's so many opportunities. Everyone fits so much boating and fishing and swimming in those 4, 5, 6 months in the middle of the year. That's Minnesota last year, and I think even Wisconsin and Michigan, next year is going to be a great year.
Yes. Get him.
Yeah.
Is he there?
He missed it.
Come on.
Eat it.
Bite it.
Dude, you should see the shadow on my live. It's so big.
Eat it. Come on. What is a big fish for up there?
Well, like most of these fish here are at like 14 to 20, but they're so fat and they're so thick. They eat so well. So like you catch a 20,
Yes.
25, and it's like 7 pounds, like 6-7 pounds. A big fish up here. If you can get one over like 23, 24,
Jesus.
that's a pretty big one here. But it's just that there's so many in that eating.
Yep.
That one's gone, so we're good to go now.
Awesome. Well, hey, dude, I want to let you get back to it. There's one more question I want to ask you, and then we'll kind of wrap things up. Just noticed I got my handy dandy golf tee in this entire video pointing at you. What do you still have that feeling that you had when you were a kid, as far as like and it's no, like, I'm not trying to have you like quit Boatsetter right now, but like in the future, as you go down the road, dude, you're 24, right? You got a long way to go. You got a lot of years to roll with. What do you like? Where would you love to see yourself in this industry? Is it still on camera fishing for a living, whether it's a YouTube show or a TV show? Do you like just staying behind the scenes? Do you think maybe Boatsetter's always going to be a part of it? And again, I don't want to put you in a bad position, but where do your dream? Everybody's got dreams, bro. Like, I've got dreams that, no offense, but my dreams aren't sitting inside of Hook One Bait and Tackle all the time. I'd love to get out there and film and fish and do all that sort of stuff. Like, where do you want to go?
That is a fantastic question. I think that, honestly, right now, focusing on just growing Boatsetter, as soon as I hopped in the boating industry, I kind of have that spark that I had when I first began in the fishing industry. I want to learn more. I want to grow more, and I want to grow Boatsetter because it's the coolest. It's just like to tell somebody what Boatsetter is that has no idea. You just watch their eyes get huge, and just I want to keep making those connections. I'm gonna stay at Boatsetter. That's my goal for quite a long time. Make it go global, just do the whole thing, and then eventually I would like to tap further into the hunting industry. I've gotten really big into whitetail hunting, and that's kind of like that's my new thing. So I think definitely Boatsetter. I don't know where I'll be in 10 years. 10 years ago, I didn't know I'd be doing what I'm doing.
When you were 19, when you were 19, sitting there, looking at everything the way it was going to go, would you guess this is where you were in 5 years? Isn't that a nuts thing to think about, dude?
The filming with 13, and we met Sam Moore, and just all that, would have never ever have thought. And that's just what, like, keeping your oh my god,
that dude's so dialed. It's special. Like, there's a couple guys that are really special with a camera. Sam's one of them. We got a guy over here, Brian Evie. He's follow those accounts on Instagram. Like, those are pretty sick. But yeah, no, you're spot on, dude. And it's like, that I love asking people that question because I love seeing where their brain goes, because in reality, that's not going to be the answer. Like, and it's not saying that you're not going to achieve your dreams. It's that your dreams change. And like, that's totally okay to realize and understand. Like, you know, when I sit back and look at where I was when I was 22, you know, I wanted to be down south. I wanted to be fishing saltwater. I would have loved to have a show or possibly guiding down there, but I wanted to be in saltwater. And like, now I want my saltwater fishing to be like basically what a lot of you guys do for hunting. Like, you hunt to get out of fishing. Like, I want to be able to escape a little bit and do that. And now I will say, it's funny because you talk about the whitetail thing. I wasn't going to throw it under the bus, but those freaking deer got in the way of a lot of this podcasting.
They did.
But I get it, dude. It's like that's how Louis is with waterfowl hunting. Like Louis checks into waterfowl hunting, and it's 60 days of the year that you can't. It's 60 days of doing something that you can't do any other time. And so, like, I understand that, and I get it. And it's like, we've had a couple people like, "Hey, where's Louis been on the podcast?" Like, he's hunting, man. He's only got 60 days to hunt, and you've got to enjoy it because that's your escape, right? 365 days of the year, you're talking fishing, boating, filming, content.
And
go sit in a tree and enjoy yourself,
take
bro.
In nature. I was just gonna say you have 300 days to do everything else, but packing that, that's what's so cool about it.
And you have to, because you really only have, like, you can do all day sits, but you really only have a couple hours in the morning and a couple hours a night to fish. So it's like, really, you only have 60 days, but then on top of that 60 days, you really only have what? Like, you know what I mean? It's like when you think about it, you don't have that much time. And I fish a lot. I've been I open water fish. Haven't bought a hunting license in 2 years. Don't ice fish, blah, blah. I'm buying a hunting license next year because that is I can't wait to waterfowl hunt again, dude, and do that. And you kind of have to have that escape. For you, just watching as you get into whitetail hunting and following at Brick Fishing on Instagram, I got to make sure I shameless plug it somewhere. It's cool watching that content come out. And like, dude, you've got that eye. Like, it was always fun watching you and Benny, because you've got that. So I no matter what you decide to do, it'll be really cool to kind of follow along. As long as you're with Boatsetter, we're going to be working side by side. So I'm super stoked about that. I'd love to get you out here to see like the market that you guys are pitching to and stuff like that, and get you fishing out here. It's always been a goal of ours.
Next year,
it's a lot easier said than done.
I've already cleared it with my boss. I'm making a trip out there. We're gonna fish one day for content, and then, like you said, I want to see the market. I normally when we go places, we host a meetup. Get as many of your buddies as you can,
dude.
We'll go to a bar or a restaurant.
Yes.
We'll cover whatever and just come out and talk Boatsetter. I want to talk fishing with those guys, kind of meet, and that's next year. 100% look at spring. Send me some dates, and we will 100% make it happen.
It's funny too, because like whenever I have a guest on here, we always end up talking a little bit of business, because this is really like when we talk. We're so busy outside of this. Like we'll shoot some texts here and there, some Instagram messages, but we always end up talking business with whoever we're with. And that's one thing I did want to say to you. I was going to say it after we hung up, but I'll just say it here. I was following the Facebook of Boatsetter, and I saw that they did that meetup very recently down south. And I was like, that would be awesome if you came up here to fish and we just reached out, like put on even the Facebook pages, and we can even drive down to the Detroit River where a lot of those guys are guiding and do one of those meetups. Because like you said, explaining it on the phone or like over a message or whatever, it's hard to actually explain until you can see
I just got back from Texas like 4 days ago, down in Rockport, put on a big meetup. I think that'd be really cool to do the exact same thing. We'll invite everyone in Michigan that better. Yeah, everything.
All the guides, dude. All the guides that want to go.
Yep.
And not even guides. If you own a boat, like if you've got a boat, we'll do it. And
yeah, for sure.
We'll find a good place to do it. Shit. I mean, if we do it in the spring or whatever, we could even do it on the dock. Well, there's places that we could meet that are central located, but I think that would be a lot of fun. And guys, if you're our viewers and listeners, if you own a boat, if you are a captain, I mean, I know we do have a couple captains listening. No, not tooting our own horn. We got a couple captains. But if you guys are listening, like seriously, drop it below in the comments. Shoot me a message at Brick Fishing on Instagram. Reach out to Tyler. Like it is really cool, and I'd like to see this thing take off, because that was my whole thing that I fell in love with at Florida. I know my listeners are sick of hearing it, but I don't care. I started this thing for the culture of it, and because I loved the culture of fishing and boating and the people that were in it. So the fact that like there's an opportunity to bring that up here and run that up here and enjoy it with other people, like you got to think, dude, if there's 10 captains that are in a Boatsetter network, like that is, we talked about this industry is your network. Like those are 10 people that you can work with. Hey, do you need a trip? Hey, do you have an extra
trip? And even like with our Boatsetter captains network, if someone wants to rent out their pontoon and they can select captain trips, one of our Boatsetter captains can go on their boat and captain it for them.
Dude, I loved that, by the way. That was one little thing I noticed that's like, it's this big to 90% of your guys' customers.
For the owners.
For your guys'
Yep.
the people that are
Yep.
doing Boatsetter, that's huge, dude.
Correct.
Because it's a way for everybody to kind of make a little bit of
on
money.
the renter too, like you said earlier,
and
like pleasure cruises and all that stuff taken care of.
Hey, whoa! The pleasure cruises.
Was that? You can cut that one out. You can cut that out.
No, we don't cut anything out here. That means I'd have to edit. No, there might be a few things cut out. Definitely not the fish. But hey, dude, I really, really appreciate you coming on, taking the time out of your day. Like I said, we've been trying to do this for a while. You're out on the ice right now with your cousin, enjoying some family time and sitting in the shanty talking to us for an hour. I really appreciate it. Is there anything that I missed that you kind of want to get out to these guys or say?
The biggest thing is we'll plan something for the spring for Boatsetter, and I'd love to meet everyone. But thank you so much for having me on. It's been a long time coming. Thankfully, no deer got in the way on this.
Just fish, bro. That was so cool.
Thank you so much. It's been a blast.
And this probably won't be our last one, dude. I truly actually enjoyed sitting down and talking to you again for the first time in like a couple years. And so it's really fun. And a lot of this times, like we were talking, we had probably a 20-minute conversation before I even hit record. And I wish I would have hit record because this is like what a lot of our listeners want, is just what our conversation is. And it was really cool to reconnect with you. I cannot wait to have you out here this spring. I've got the guest room ready to roll. The boat's sitting right down there. Hey, real quick, where can these guys reach you and Boatsetter?
Yeah, for sure.
Can you just kind of let them know on
Boatsetter
social medias
fishing,
and whatnot?
on Instagram and Facebook, and you can even hit me up on FishBrain. And then also my personal is Brick Fishing on all platforms. But if you're interested in listing your boat, just Google Boatsetter. It'll come up. You can start your listing, and I'll help you along the way. Any you have, just reach out, and I'm there.
Yeah, and absolutely. And guys, if you're looking for the link to just check out Boatsetter's website or put your boat on there and see kind of what's involved, the link's going to be right down below. It's going to say Boatsetter link, there's the link. Click on it. That'll take you guys to the link. You can list your boats, do whatever. As always, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. There was a lot of breaks in this one, but I've been looking forward to sitting down with Tyler. Tyler put some fish on the ice for you guys to see, so that was super cool. But seriously, thank you so much for listening. Your guys' support means the world to us, that we get to keep doing this. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tyler, you're a big social media guy. Hey, is it free to like, share, and subscribe?
I think it is. Yep. And free. Yep.
Huh. All right, guys. So it's still free. Like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel. It means a whole lot to us. As we continue to grow, we're going to continue to give stuff away. We're going to continue to give you guys more content, more stuff like that. On that note, Tyler, have yourself a Merry Christmas, brother. Catch some fish. Thank you so much for joining. You guys also have a Merry Christmas. I'm not going to see you guys till after Christmas. This video is going to drop on Monday. Christmas Eve's on Saturday. Christmas is on Sunday. You'll see this ugly mug again a day after Christmas. Have a great holiday break, y'all, and tight lines. Adios.